Did you hear Mark Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan's podcast?
I didn't know Rogan had a podcast.
Yeah, he started one. He's just trying to get the thing going.
How was the Zuckerberg interview?
Guys, we have a weekend with JP. How much time do we have together?
35 minutes.
Okay. A weekend with JP. All right, let's get it. All right. Things might be worse than you think.
Uh-oh.
Nice mask. Thanks. Monkeypox? Nope. Still doing the original.
Vintage. I like it. Kind of like bell bottom.
Sorry, I just have to say, yesterday I was working and there was an OT and she says to me, you know, in the beginning, I thought this masking and all of this was so, I never would have went against it. I never would have thought there's anything wrong. And then now, she said, now I think this is just form and fashion. This is just, she said, I'm just just basically so not overwhelmed or anything. She said, I just don't believe that it's everything they're saying that it is.
Oh, wow.
And it was just so powerful to hear someone say, because, you know, these people were diehard, follow the guidelines, listen to what's being put out through the media, take action, be proactive, cover your face and all this. I said, all I know is when I keep breathing in this warm, moist environment, I go back to my middle school science class and I think I'm wearing a petri dish. And we laughed or whatever. Hi, Debbie. Thank you. I'm blue, dabba dee, dabba die.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I just said, and we just started laughing or whatever, because we're just like, take it back to middle school. The basics of bacteria growth and how it grows and isolation. And this one girl said, I mean, so many of our kids, they went back to school for 1 or 2 days and then they were sick.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because they just the whole weeks of school. And it was like multiple of us said, your kid got sick too. Your kid got sick too. And then the teacher said the whole class was sick. So it just when I saw him rip off that mask, it brought back the whole idea of our conversation yesterday.
I think a lot of people are beginning to realize there was something.
It's just so much.
Yeah.
And now they're just continuing it. But
there's a lot of people that are taking their words back. You know.
Yeah, that's what
Dr.
she said.
Fauci just says, I'm going to retire. There were some people. And I'm talking about people who were once pushing this.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So people who were once pushing it are now saying, we didn't mean it like that. We didn't mean for us to shut down the country. That's not what we're asking for. We didn't say that mask has to be mandated. I was like, excuse me? Okay, anyway, we just going to go along.
Bottoms for your face.
Did you hear the people that run Biden decided to cancel? Thanks.
Monkeypox?
Nope. Still doing the original.
Vintage. I like it. Kind of like bell bottoms for your face.
Did you hear the people that run Biden decided to cancel student loans?
Yep.
What are your feelings on that?
Well, I think instead of having the person who decided to take out a loan based on their own free will to pay their loan, it's a much better idea to have you and I pay their loan through our tax dollars.
It kind of does drive home the lesson that self-responsibility isn't going to get you anywhere in life.
Exactly. Wow. And we get to have all the expense of paying for college without getting any of the degrees.
I'd pay money not to have a degree.
You are.
Oh, also, did you hear Mark Zuckerberg on Joe Rogan's podcast?
I didn't know Rogan had a podcast.
Yeah, he started one. He's just trying to get the thing going.
How was the Zuckerberg interview?
Well, listening to an interview.
By the way, Rogan's podcast is booming. 12 something million subscribers. Yeah. It's the largest podcast right now on YouTube. And again,
with the world's most boring person, you'd be surprised at how Mark Zuckerberg was the exact amount of boring you thought he'd be.
Sounds riveting. Oh, and I think I heard someone say that Mark talked about how the FBI instructed Facebook to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story?
Yeah, and I think Mark did a masterful job of pinning Facebook's fascist policies on the FBI's fascist policies.
How so?
Wow.
That's a mouthful.
Very much so.
Wow. What are you guys thinking so far?
This censoring of that story could have possibly made Trump win the election, because that story of the laptop was showing that Mr. Biden was making business through his son and getting paid from China. which was not supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
So if that story had come out before the election and not being censored, it is very possible that Trump would have won.
Yeah.
They would have lost confidence in Biden. So the FBI went to Facebook and said, quiet.
Zip it. Yeah.
And after the election, the story came out saying it was true. And people that were talking about it, they all censored them, shut down their accounts and everything. He's like,
yeah,
okay, YouTube jail.
Yeah.
It's very weird. Like, why are they doing this? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can understand why a lot of people from the Republican Party feeling the way they feel. They're outraged because what's up with this? And recently, like one of the FBI, one of the agents, one of the leading person just got fired based on that statement that came out. So it went so viral that they walked him out.
Wow.
Because they found that he was an anti-Trumper kind of thing. He was making sure that Trump doesn't get reelected. So that was proven to be true. But again, the truth has come out.
Well, when Zuckerberg wasn't being a sociopath, he was being a sociopath who said the FBI came to Facebook right before the laptop story broke and warned them that there would be upcoming dumps of Russian misinformation.
I think what's sad is that this stuff is clear as day. So now, what are the people doing with this information that has been let out? Like, he's saying it in a sarcastic, funny way, but it's Mark Zuckerberg said it himself.
He did. He
so
did
now what do people have to say? I don't care. I'm so used to thinking this way and supporting this person and supporting this party. This isn't about parties, people.
Yeah.
It really isn't about any one full party.
No.
This is about the greater good of man as delineated what God says.
Yep.
That's it. This isn't about a right or a left to me. You have your people who are doing the wrong thing on both sides of this. So now you hear this about your current president, and do you still support that? And like, that is a huge
revelation. It's just, and it goes to show, and it goes with the FBI raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago's home. They found nothing. The man is completely innocent. It's like they're fishing, hoping to catch something.
Yeah.
They find nothing. And he's like, they refuse to come out to admit that we're in the wrong here. Like, hey, what are you guys doing? You know, so he's like, to answer your question, what people are doing now, they are just voting Republicans. They're just leaving the Democratic Party. Trump is more famous outside office now than he was in office.
I think it's...
Which I'm not saying you got to vote for Trump. You can make your own decision, but it's good to look at this stuff critically. Like, these people are moving and leaving the Democratic Party because of the stuff they're seeing, and they're saying enough is enough. Too much deception and corruption. And now the FBI themselves have to come out and clear their names, because based on this revelation from Mark Zuckerberg,
you can't trust the FBI. How do you trust the FBI?
You've been politicized.
This is what I mean. So, like, this is where I say, like, yeah, this isn't necessarily about a party. This is people. We're dealing with people. We're dealing with a world that has fallen into sin and into greed.
Yeah.
So yes, you have we have to be very prayerful about whomever we vote for. Absolutely. And whoever we put into office, or whoever we want to represent our country. And we really have to make sure we're putting God first, because absolutely. I mean, that's the FBI. They're the one people who you should hope that they're not being deceitful. I mean, we all know this thing, but
here we are.
Here we are with it, like, in our face. What do you do with that information, people?
The FBI know that was coming? Because apparently most Russian misinformation comes from them.
And Zuckerberg just went along with it?
Oh, he definitely went along with it.
Did Rogan press him on it?
No, I think Joe knew the Clinton body count would be going up by 1 if he got too curious.
Oh, and speaking of the FBI, apparently an FBI whistleblower told Senator Ron Johnson that the FBI refused to investigate the laptop story, with one boss telling their agents, "You will not look at the Hunter Biden laptop."
Why would they purposely not investigate it?
The FBI said they didn't want an investigation to change the outcome of the 2020 election.
I appreciate their integrity, because it would hurt our democracy if truth and reality influenced how people voted.
Oh, this is crazy.
Come on, guys. Yes, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth. Oh, what a beautiful woman. just seeing everything she was involved in too yesterday.
Yeah, you don't know these things until they're gone. Right?
Until, I know.
It's
I
kinda
mean, it
sad.
just wasn't something we studied.
Mm.
But yeah, it's sad. The reality, I hope people haven't been so dumbed down and so watered down to just brush this stuff off.
Okay.
Like, this is real. This is important.
It is. It is.
Derek
and I think
Johnson.
it's going to show at the ballot.
Thank you,
it's going to
Base.
show at the ballot box how many Americans really feel about this, because election is coming up soon, and it's like,
Well, it's like when Abraham Lincoln got voted in. There was just, oh, no. Well, the country was in distress because he had tried to become president many times. He tried to enter into different political parties and just failed miserably, like over and over and over again. And the same with Hitler.
And then he came back.
So it was like when the countries were in distress and in crisis, it's like they'll take the next best thing coming. So
but there's too extreme to that, because in desperation too, we can choose a leader that we probably wouldn't use. I'm not talking about Trump, particularly, like, for example, when you go back to Hitler, when Germany was in trouble.
Yeah, Hitler, his party was at like 3%.
But he had lost before.
He lost
he
too.
came back
His
and
was
said,
like
I'm going to fix the
3%.
economy and everything. And then
all of a sudden, because he came with a solution.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but even though it wasn't right, we're not elevating that by any means.
Yeah.
But it's just like when it looked bleak, you got to make sure
you got to be prayerful.
You got to be prayerful minded, because what you're about to put into position, you don't even know what it is that they're coming with.
Yeah.
So
it's the same mistake that I wouldn't say, I don't know, the same thing that everything happened because God allows it ultimately, you know. But the thing is, some people wanted to get rid of Trump so bad and they chose Biden. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're not choosing Biden because he's good. We just can't stand Trump. So let's just go with, I guess, the lesser of evil, the lesser of the two from their perspective. But now a lot of people are looking back and said, what did we do? It's like, no, he's not doing everything right, and everything that's happening. Even with the student loans, when you look into that, it's like, are you robbing Peter
so
to pay
people
Paul?
are doing a hallelujah dance, and
then inflation is gonna go up to the roof because your taxes are gonna go up. Like, what I've learned is government do not make money. They do not make money. They make money off the taxpayers, right? So whenever you see a big bill, a big budget being signed into law, like, always remember this: you're gonna be paying for that over time. Like, we paying for the stimulus checks. Like a year and a half ago, we're like, oh yeah, the stimulus checks are coming, great. You've seen it at the pump. You've seen that when you go for shopping.
There goes your stimulus.
There goes your stimulus check. All right, it's like
about to return the furniture. I need my money back.
It's painful.
I'm Blue Daba.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for whatever it is that you gave. And, you know, our trust is in God. So financially, we don't ever want anyone to give more than what they're capable of. But I do understand. I do know the truth about blessing someone else.
Yeah.
Yes, you were fired. Yes, you don't have much to give. But that act of faith and sacrifice, God is going to bless you that much more. So we do say thank you for that. And we will ensure that that money is used to promote for the good. So thank you. We appreciate that.
And by the way, if you want to support this channel,
I'm just saying you don't have to put, not you
particularly. Blue. I wanted to promote that because I need to do it more often. I was telling you about that.
He's going to promote the store now.
You want to go to the store. Here's the reason why.
Crazy.
I'm not crazy. You want to go to the store. Here's the reason for it. It's because you get something while you are sharing. You know what I'm saying? So we don't just want you to say, hey, I'm going to give this. To me, it's like, hey, well, how about you go to the store and see what we got. You know, I got to get this for you. I did this one for you. So, you know, probably didn't know that, but I got this for you. Yeah. So go to the store and see what you can find and go support the channel that way. I think that's the best way, because there you can find something that you love. This morning, I just worked on that one, right? Which I thought was cool.
Faith over fear.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, best. I will recommend that particularly.
I just don't think that tank should cost $21.
Yeah, I know.
It's wild. Expensive.
It is a little expensive. Well, they do all the shipping and handling and design and everything for us, and then.
Well, thank you for your support, regardless. But don't feel like
don't feel pressure, please.
No pressure. That's the word.
But I should have done this. This wasn't part of my commercial break from the beginning. I should have done that. So, it had nothing to do with this thing particularly. Bass, can you send me a link on my Discord with that Derek Johnson breakdown, what's really going on?
Wow.
Please send me a link in my Discord or email, whichever one you want to use. I would appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let's continue.
Do you think the FBI's raid on Trump was legit?
100%. A Jeffrey Epstein attorney, who's now a judge, signed this search warrant for the FBI to go into Mar-a-Lago.
Why do you think the FBI hasn't raided anyone to get Epstein's client list?
Oh, did I mention that Epstein
Right?
attorney is now a judge connected to the FBI?
Yeah,
Wow.
but I still don't see the correlation.
You don't?
I don't.
Well, your refusal
I
to...
wonder what's in that, contact playbook. Whose names were in there?
Mm.
Just saying. They have never released that, and I'm just like, I hope we don't have some people in there that's not supposed to be there. Anyway.
see the obvious now makes me feel insecure about my observations of the obvious, which I will now abandon for the sake of believing a comfortable false reality, just like you, rather than believing a terrifying true reality.
I appreciate the companionship. And besides, we know the raid was legit because the FBI took pictures of the secret documents they were after and posted them online, which proves Trump put the country at risk for having those secret documents, because you can't risk letting people just see those secret documents. You got to keep them a secret.
Yeah, I think you're right, because if it was a fabricated raid, they wouldn't post pictures of the secret docs online for everyone to see, because that would prove there's...
Come on, man. I didn't know that part of the story. I saw the pictures of documents thrown on the floor inside of his house, and he's like, and Trump did speak about that. Says, I didn't do that. You guys did this. Don't make it look like I threw these documents as if I'm scattering all over the place for anybody to see. They did that themselves. But he's almost like, this is bad. This is the kind of stuff that tears the country apart.
Yeah. And it's intentional. I think what's so sad is it's intentional. It's a intentional, devisatory attack. So that way they can continue to carry out their agendas, and people will just be so overwhelmed with everything that's happening that they can't keep their heads straight. And then the media is saying this, that, the fourth, and the fifth. They got dumbness in between of some reality and some falsehood and truth. And then you just have people who say, I got to get back to work.
Enough is enough.
I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Or I'm just a Democrat, or I'm just a Republican, or I'm just a this, I'm just a that. And they don't have any true foundational standpoint as to why they believe what they believe. And when you give them truth, they just spit it out.
Yep. And that's exactly.
And just
there are people that's another YouTuber. He goes on the street and questioning people. It's very
like,
good
why
to watch
are
those
you?
interviews. Why
Tell
do
me
you
a
do
little
this?
bit about
What-
Democrats.
what is
Tell
the
me a little bit
perspective
about Republicans.
Yeah.
Tell me about these people that you are standing for. Did you know? Did you know this? Did you know that? Those are good did you knows.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yeah,
they
we gotta
said
do some reaction
so?
videos to those, because they're really, really nice to see what people are really thinking.
There's no evidence.
I'm a little concerned about Europe.
Why?
It's just that they're in a major energy shortage right now because of Russia shutting off energy exports to them, and also mostly because of the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, apparently what we think of as civilized countries like France and Germany are going back to the dark ages because of a lack of energy.
They sure are. Over there, the price of oil has doubled, the price of coal has quadrupled, and the price of natural gas is 7 times more expensive.
Behind that is climate change.
Wow.
Getting rid of.
That's what they're trying to use, even though it's
what they're realizing, electricity and windmill and also on. Not only some of these things are mainly done in China, which is considered one of their enemies, but they have to rely on them again. And Mr. Trump actually told them in a video, he actually was live with them. He told them, if you guys go with this, he's going to cost you big time. And that was when he was in presidency. They laughed. And you see the video, they were laughing.
Yeah.
You dumb. That's never going to happen to us. And now Trump is like saying, so he's like, I told you.
Because he knows behind the scenes already. Enough to know.
New. This all climate change, trying to save the world thing. He's been tried out for so many. It's been going on for a long time.
Well, there's an agenda behind the climate change. So it's intentional.
Yeah.
It's bringing despair. It's bringing hopelessness. It's bringing people to a point where they'll accept anything that looks good to the naked eye.
Yeah.
And they won't think.
Yeah.
They'll just, because now people are just going to come into a state of despair and just go for whatever.
We are not some climate deniers. We're not saying nothing in
There
that
are
is
real
wrong.
issues.
There are real
Absolutely.
issues, and there are things we can do.
It's
and
their solution.
Their solution is very dangerous, and how far they're gonna go with that. And again, in California, they had an electricity issue recently because they were like promoting all these electric cars. The electricity just like.
Did you hear what it takes to make one of those batteries for an electric car?
Oh, Lord have mercy. I heard.
I think someone put it in the chat too.
Yeah, I think that was Darth.
And I had looked up something prior to that, but it's so much money. It's what the child labor that goes into mining.
Yeah.
To get it's horrible.
Yeah, and getting rid of it is even worse for the environment. I heard. There's no way to discard it. You know, it's like, what do you do when this is all done? And after every 5 years or something, you have to replace them, and it costs more than the car.
And the work that it takes is really sad. What people go through,
to
create these batteries.
Yeah.
And with winter coming, it's expected that most people over there won't have heat.
Wow.
And we're on a similar trajectory. It sucks for them, but that could never happen here. I get really nervous when people say that because it's usually a really bad omen about what's about to. Don't worry, we should be good. Look, upon taking office, Biden had the.
So
have faith.
Guys, do you guys have a little coal stove, a little burner or something? Because
might as well.
It's so true.
Prep ourselves for this.
You know, we talk about preparing ourselves, and many of us live paycheck to paycheck, literally. Don't have big fat bank accounts. Like, we need some real sound advice as to what we can do, because we need real sound advice as to what's affordable ways to, we know, like hanging up heavier curtains, things of that nature, and winterizing your home. But we do need real sound advice and counsel as to how a person who lives paycheck to paycheck can prepare.
Yeah.
Because there's all these great things. Prepare for a country home. Prepare for this. Prepare for that. We need some sound counsel and of course wisdom from above, from God.
There are some books. I can refer you to some things, but we need to start applying them first ourselves. But
exactly.
You know, I've read a book. There's a book that I was referred to. I just need to get it. It says You Can Survive. They teach you everything. Again, we're not some doomsday preppers. You know, this is not what we're calling here. But no, this is talking about preparation, right? We're making the right preparation for what is to come, just in case. And the reality is, when you look at the Bible, like, this is not a far-fetched reality. Like, it has always happened. When you look at, for example, the destruction of Jerusalem, like when the Romans were coming, Jesus actually told his disciples, when you see Jerusalem is compassed with army, that means desolation is near. Run to the mountain. A lot of people didn't run to the mountain. They didn't take Jesus seriously. Over 1 million Jews lost their lives in that desolation. All right. So, and the Christians who all believed the words of Jesus and they ran to the mountain, they went to a city called Pella. When they moved there, thank to God, the first time the Romans came in AD 66, supernaturally, they backed away from it under Celsius. And then Titus came in AD 70. There was no mercy then. But the good thing is, when 66 came and the Christians saw this and they're like, we out. They had 4 years to plant their mango trees, to save their food, to prepare for what was going to come. Because once Jerusalem was destroyed, no food. This was like the epicenter of the Jewish worship. All that was going to be destroyed. So by them leaving in AD 66 and the destruction took place in AD 70, they had just enough time to save themselves and their families. It's an amazing thing to study. So it's like, the point we're trying to say is, we don't want to wait till the last minute for things to get worse before we say, okay, let's run. Like, let's start saving. Let's start talking. Let's start preparing. Let's start making the things that we need to do, because it's eventually going to break down. It's eventually going to break down. And we know that. It's not going to be as business as usual.
Realistic strategies. Because like we're seeing, my paycheck isn't going up, but the food bill is. You know, changing. So we're changing our meals, changing these different things. The gas prices are going up, but my car note is still the same. My insurance is still the same. So
my car note has gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just wild. Yeah.
You know, it's beautiful. it's beautiful to know that there is a way, but we need to be intentional with asking God to help us to prepare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Foresight to shut down the Keystone pipeline. So instead of us being energy independent, now we're dependent on Russia for energy. And now with us sending billions of dollars of aid and weapons to Russia's enemy that they're in a war with, we should have nothing to worry about because that could never happen here.
Yeah, you just said it again, and I feel much more nervous than I did the first time you said that.
I always had mixed feeling about how we get involved in certain political conflicts, right? Like two people fighting, right? Two people fighting. The common thing a person will do, what do we do when we see two people fighting? You a person, you stand there and you see two groups of individuals fighting. Like there's two men fighting. What most kids will do, they will either go in. I mean, today now we take pictures and put it on the Facebook. But back then we used to be like, hey, stop. We separate them, right? We go in, you say, you stay over there. And you break it up, right? But two people are fighting, two nations are fighting. And we came into the picture and we say, let's pick that one and let's fund them. But we know very well they can't win unless you believe in miracles, unless you're spending time on your knees. We're not talking about Israel here versus the Philistines. That's not what we're talking about here. God being their leader and their king. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a very small nation with a very small army, like David and Goliath in reality without God. That's what we're talking about. And I'm like, you really think Ukraine was going to win this? And we're sending them billions of dollars? Like, you really believe this was going to happen? And what I'm finding out is that a lot of the weapons that they're sending them, they don't know how to use, unfortunately. And some of the weapons
I agree with that.
End up in a black market. Even Russians are buying some of the weapons from the Ukrainian people. So it's like what are you trying to do? Are we trying to obliterate these individuals? We trying to destroy their country? Is that what the goal is? Is like, instead of trying to find ways to end the war, to come to a peaceful agreement, but instead we're fueling this thing, and we know where this is going to end. We know where it's going to end. The Russians are not going to lose this war. They're not going to lose. I was talking to my son the other day. I said, he was looking at the map upstairs in the room with Josiah. I said, this is Russia. He's like, whoa, that's Russia? He's like, yeah. And I said, this is Ukraine. He looks at that. He says, oh, that's Ukraine. They say, yeah. This comparing to Russia, they're small. I said, I know. It's just, anyway.
Yeah. I wanted to highlight what PK said. I just thought it was really important he said all mom and pop businesses and bigger across the world are getting eradicated with taxes, regulations, and now the extraordinary price of power left with monopolies and duopolies.
Yeah.
So I totally can see that.
Yeah.
You see these your main, like, Amazon, and these certain people that just have all the money and the power. Yeah. And it's sad. Yeah. It is sad to see. But as far as the war in Ukraine, I don't know enough about it to know right now. But I don't think God's not in it. I do believe God is in it.
God is not in.
So
I wouldn't say God is in the war. I would say God is more for the people, because there's a lot of missionary work happening there. Some soldiers are becoming Christians. Some people are getting help. I think, like, God is with the people. God is not in that political corruption and all that extra stuff. Some of the stuff we just create our own mess.
I don't look at the size and say this is impossible, because I serve a big God. I know you do too.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that. That's all I wanted to say about that, because you made a lot of comments that I didn't. I don't want to go deep into it. I know we got JP here.
Said it again, and I feel much more nervous than I did the first time you said that.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
And besides, with the Rhode Island-sized country of Russia, we're doubly good because Biden is obeying the marching orders of the World Economic Forum and their Green New Deal.
But when their green
Rhode Island.
policies are implemented, they just create poverty.
Exactly. That's why it's good. When they reduce people's access to fossil fuels, people can only be a small fraction as economically productive, which then means they're poor, living in poverty. And when people are
They're intentionally creating poverty. That's all I want to say. And I think that is really sad because you know what poverty does to the mind? You know, the connection between poverty and the mind it's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
People do desperate things in times like this.
Yep.
poor and living in poverty, they can't afford the energy that they already couldn't afford. And therefore, the demand for energy goes down.
Yes, that's exactly what happens. I guess I just don't see it as a good thing.
You gotta try optimism, man. The glass of the economy isn't half empty. It's completely empty. And you just gotta condition yourself to see it that way through enough gaslighting.
Oh, and California's leading the way on that. Did you see they've banned the sale of gas-powered cars by the year 2035?
Yep.
Only electric cars from then on out.
Yeah, and did you see 6 days later, California then told their residents not to charge their electric vehicles because their power grid isn't strong enough?
That's what I was
could
saying.
be wrong,
Wow.
but it
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
seems like that's a problem.
It's like a bunch of oxymorons.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of like speaking out of both sides of your mouth here.
Mm-hmm.
How can the state force people to use electric cars when they can't even provide power to charge their electric cars?
Again, not a problem. Most people actually can't afford to.
I heard these electric cars have to be charged almost every 2 hours, and it takes about over an hour and then some to fully charge it.
Well, I had a friend. She had
A
like,
trip.
She had a hybrid.
2 hours, 3 hours. Or a hybrid is different.
Yeah.
But
she
those
had a
full
hybrid.
electric cars are not. Yeah.
Well, did you see that people are getting locked in their cars?
I didn't see
People
that.
are literally getting locked in their cars. They cannot get out of their own car. These electric cars.
'Cause
I
there's
was
no
at
power? Is that what it is?
It's just a glitch, I guess. But literally locked in the car. That was so scary. I went to a gas station as well then, and there was a lady, she was locked in her car.
Get
And
out.
I was like, what? This is crazy. This is too much.
It's like what, $50,000.
Technology is
I think we're relying too much on technology. Too
I
much.
think, and I
the
think they
natural
put some of these
resources-
glitches in there just to see how they can. Oh, let's try locking her car. See how they respond. Locking people's cars from the
It's
big
crazy.
tower. Could you imagine?
That is
Lock
wild.
me in my car. That's
Mm-mm.
why I keep scissors in my car. I keep a couple, and now I gotta keep a glass pick.
You gotta
one
keep
of
the
those
window.
things
We
up.
gotta keep the window down now.
The one that breaks the window. You know, the thing that you can break a window. Gotta get one of those. Guys, we gotta prepare.
This is crazy.
These people are getting locked in their own cars. This is becoming a normal thing. It's
Mhm.
very scary. Could you imagine?
Buy an electric car, so that problem is actually a non-issue, and therefore their solution is valid.
Makes sense when I don't think about it too much. Oh, speaking of California, did you hear Governor Gavin Newsom's wife's parents donate money, not to his campaign, but to Ron DeSantis's campaign?
Yeah, maybe they know something that we know as well.
Probably.
You've been watching CNN lately?
Nah, not really into science fiction.
You should check it out. I just saw that the Google Play Store banned Trump's Truth Social network.
Shocker.
Yeah,
heard
apparently it doesn't have enough censorship to protect Americans from free speech.
I think they should be careful because it's starting.
So the Google Play is saying you can even download the app for Truth Social, which is Donald Trump's kind of social media app.
Mhm.
Like they go as far as removing the app from their Play Store.
Wow.
It's like-
Wow. Talk about censorship.
That's the
Freedom
next
of
le-
speech.
That's the next level of censorship right here.
Wow.
It's one thing to say I'm taking down your video. It's another thing to say that this app is no longer valid. We don't carry
Wow.
it. Like that's serious crazy stuff.
I just-
to look like they're starting to think about maybe pondering the idea of thinking about using fascist techniques to eliminate their political opposition.
Whoa.
Obviously not even close. I'm just saying I think they should be careful because when the political optics show what they're actually doing, it makes them look a little suspicious.
Well, I don't
just a
know
little.
about that. I guess we'll have to agree on that. Are you going to be
Agree to
homeschooling your clumps of cells this year? No, the indoctrination camps are free. Plus, it kind of creates a survival.
Indoctrination
This is
camps. You know,
It's been happening.
it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. Talk to your kids every day. Talk to them about what they're learning. Get into their heads. Talk to as much as you can. Free up time. Make it. I need to more. Like I've asked a few questions here and there. My daughter goes to a public school, but our babe, he's going to a Christian school. It's so important to really
Of the
get
fittest
into their
situation for their mind.
Quickly, Sue, what did you just say? If driving erratic, the electric car will drive you to the police.
I see. See, I bet you they're locking these people in the cars. You see.
That is not.
No wonder they're gonna mandate electric car use because they're
I need
gonna
to look into this. This is crazy.
Wow, Sue. If you know, everyone needs to always do fact checks. So Sue, we're gonna have to fact check your comment. But wow, could you imagine? Could you imagine what that would be like?
That's crazy. Mm.
Oh, I'm Blue said I was gonna say that earlier, but I know you don't want to talk about the too many comments. But 27% of Russia's inhabit it, and so that makes that.
Okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense. Wow, it is such a war versus a
Mm-hmm.
demolition derby.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if my kids' minds are strong enough to survive.
That's a very optimistic way of looking at the abuse.
Well, I've got to go cut some
is
firewood.
abuse.
You going camping?
No, I'm just going to give it a valid attempt to survive the upcoming winter.
Good luck.
Hey, is that the FBI? Shit, I've got this domestic terrorism symbol on my shirt. It is good to be in a democracy.
Wow.
Enough, JP. Enough already.
Wow. He's very enlightening. I love the way that he brings forth truth.
Yeah.
But it's also scary, like he said. It gets scarier and scarier because just like she just said, wow, that's true. The electric car is the wave of the future for control over the masses. My people perish for lack of knowledge. God said it in his word. So then, okay, so now we're getting this knowledge. So we're knowledgeable. Faith without works is dead. So you believe what's being said. You have faith in God and you have faith and understanding of what you're seeing what's happening here. Faith in the knowledge that you've been given. What do we do with it? Where do we go from here? There's only so much we can vote in and vote out.
Yeah.
Because there is a bigger scene behind, I think, anyone who we vote for.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a bigger scene.
It's bigger than that. And it's our help is beyond what men, could do. Again, I like to say this and I'll say it again.
I'm telling you, I knew when that lady was locked in her car, I said, they are going to try to trap us. They are going to literally trap us.
But even to run these electric grids, you need fuels. So
it's just so profound to me, this validation that Sue brought out.
that's just crazy.
Because this was a while ago, some months ago. And it just came to mind. But of course, I was going to pick up one of my kids. I was at the gas station myself. And I was just like, wow, that ain't right. And I had all these thoughts. And then I was on to my next thing. I put on a sermon in the car and just kept driving. But yeah,
guys, we like we said, we gotta be proactive and we gotta be prayerful. And last but not least, we gotta trust God.
Yeah.
Like too many of us put trust in men. I think that's the real problem. Even Jeremiah says, "Cursed be the man that trusteth in men." And we've seen this. Look at what's going on, and we may say, "Oh, that's just the Democrats." And when you go over to the Republican, that like the name I heard is rhinos, Republicans in names only. So there's corruption there too. It's like there's corruption everywhere. Whatever man touches is corrupt to a degree or another. So, but at the same time, we can be prayerful. intelligent, do our homework, and do our research. And when we're voting, we gotta be intentional about some of what we're doing and knowing that God is leading us to make certain decisions. But I will say most of all, we gotta trust in God.
Yep.
Here it says, Psalms 5 verse 11. Let those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Talking about God. Let them overshout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. So who's going to defend us? God. And how is he going to defend us? Because we put our trust in him.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at the next one. Today we talk about cars, but back then we had horses and chariots. It says, they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Some trust in chariots.
And some in horses.
Some trust in horses. But we will remember the name of the Lord, our God.
Amen.
Yeah, don't put your trust in electric cars, so this and so on.
Your don't chariots, put your trust in technology and
they can't save us. No, none of it.
No, you really have to put your trust and hope in the Lord. Your strength is in the Lord. Your hope is in the Lord. Listen, the very heartbeat that you have is because of the Lord. The very breath that you take is because of the Lord. You don't say, okay, so today I'm going to breathe 1,000 times and I'm going to have 1,000,000 heartbeats. No, this is just this is an involuntary body response that comes from God, who put his life in your soul.
That's right.
That you could put his life in your body, that you could become a living soul. So in understanding your identity and where you came from, and that you're a created being, that you have a creator, just like these electric cars have someone who created them. Everything has a creator. We are no different.
Yep.
So we need to put our trust in our manufacturer.
That's right.
And our God.
Ultimately.
And ask him for guidance and counsel and wisdom and truth, because all this stuff happening around us can lead people to hopelessness, and they want to lead people to poverty. They want to lead them to hopelessness. They want to cause a worldwide crisis and chaos so that people will then just take whatever it is that looks good in the moment. It's all going to be like little moment bits. What was it? Like stimulus checks, student loan drop-offs, all these different things coming in bits. And then hindsight is 2020, right? Your hindsight, then you see like, oh, now I'm paying all this money. I don't have this. So now you're trying to play catch up with different things. And because in that moment, it was sweet going in, but then it became bitter once it got digested, right? Once you really saw it later on, and it's long gone now. I don't think anyone, or maybe some wise people invested their stimulus checks, but at the end of the day, most people use those stimulus checks, or many people, I don't know, but it's gone. It's right. Gone. There's no more stimulus checks coming at this phase. Now we have different things. Now we have student loan write-offs and all these different things. But we really just got to pay attention and stay in tune with our manufacturer, stay in tune with God, because we don't know exactly how God wants us individually to proceed, except for just starting by day, putting our trust in him.
Amen. Guys, what say you?
Yep. Own nothing and be happy.
Own nothing and be happy.
That's
right?
what Sue just said.
Yep. Disturbing.
PK, right. Man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Period. Thy word is sure. Thy word is true. Thy way, O Lord, is perfect. Yes. You know, the word of God tells us where our counsel ought to come from. And then he does say he'll give us those. He said in a multitude of counselors, purposes are established. So it's not like we start with God and then we branch out. We don't start with branching out and then go to God in crisis. That's what most of the world does. They go get counsel from banks and this and that. Oh, we need more money. Let me get a loan. I need this. I need that. I need food. Let me go to a food bank. Let me go do all these different things. I need to go more work. Go work more and get another job. God's like, start with me.
Yep.
And I will lead you. I will instruct you and teach you in the way which you should go. I will guide you with mine eye. That's what God wants to do for us.
That's right. I think of Psalm 121 as you were talking, like when David says, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hill, from whence cometh my help.
My help cometh from the Lord.
Which made heaven and earth. So he takes care of his own, so we don't have to doubt him. But at the same time, the other extreme is, well, I'm gonna trust God and not do anything. You know,
faith without
Israel,
works.
yeah, faith without works is that. Like the children of Israel, they had to do, like the Jews and the Christians before the Romans came, they had to leave. They had to go and trust. Like real trust in God is trusting what He says. It's trusting His word. You put that to use. That's real faith in God. You know, so God is not gonna do for us what we can do for ourselves. He's not going to do that.
God wants to work with us.
That's right.
Not for us to just work for Him.
Yeah.
Not for Him to just work for us.
No.
He's doing that already.
Yeah.
He is working for us. Like we said, our heartbeat, our lungs, these brain reactions and neurotransmitters. This stuff isn't happening because I charged myself. You know, nothing's happening because of that. It's because of God and His goodness and His plenteous mercy and love and all that good stuff. But He wants us, He's creating a relationship.
That's right. God is not a tow truck. He doesn't come to pull you. The Bible says he's the yoke. Like He said, take my yoke upon you. And the idea of a yoke was the bigger cattle will connect with a smaller cattle, but you know, it will go from the neck of the bigger cattle next to the smaller one, but they will work side by side. So it's almost like, yeah, I'm weaker, but God is stronger, but I'm working alongside of Him. So that's faith and works working together. So that's what it is. But some of us want to be pulled, you know, just drag me along. He will never do that. Like He wants your faith, He wants your heart, He wants your time, He wants your investment. As He does what He does, you also got to do what He's called you to do.
It's a relationship. This is a relationship. Any relationship you look at, there is a synergy, there is a connection, there is a flow.
Yeah.
And when you have a bad relationship, you can look at that too. There is a lack of flow, there's a lack of connectivity, there's a lack of understanding. So as you delve deeper into understanding the people who you have relationships with, husbands, wives, kids, co-workers, anybody.
True.
You go deeper and this connectivity just gets strengthened and you become more in unison with them. Right. So you can see that in good and bad relationships where the connectivity is gone and all that. So connect with God more and make that your daily intentional activity to connect with the one who created you, because He doesn't want to just manufacture you and show you how you function and work. No, He wants to work with you. He wants to help you carry out what He created in you to become and what He created for you to be. So it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. God is so good.
Yes, He is.
And
Have a good one. Bye.